What's up, y'all? Welcome back, OTB. And it is Tuesday at 9:30, which means it is my pleasure to talk to the man from New Orleans Football, Nick Underhill. Nick_Underhill. If you're not signed up for New Orleans Football, you need to right now. It all goes to support Nick and the incredible work that he does when it comes to covering the New Orleans Saints. Nick, were you surprised at all to see the Shams report right at the beginning of free agency that Jameis Winston had immediately re-signed? I know maybe there were some ideas out there that he would test the market a bit more.
Well, I do think that he tested the market, and there probably wasn't much out there. I know Chicago had a little bit of interest in him. Ultimately, that deal started at $3 million with incentives. He got it up to $5.5 million with incentives that can push it to $12.5 million. But look, I mean, it's kind of what we talked about when he first signed it, and kind of the advantage the Saints had right away is that they were going to be the only team with any information on him, no preseason. People saw Jameis throw 11 passes. He signed with the Saints last year for $1.1 million. What happened between then and now for someone else to be able to value him and give him a competitive offer? And, I think from Jameis's point of view, unless somebody was paying him handsomely to leave or with a guaranteed situation, why would he leave? He knows his offense. He spent a year building chemistry with his teammates. If he's going to do a one-year deal and go back in the market in a year, I think this is the best situation for him. And, for the Saints, I don't think that this deal prevents wandering eyes at all. I don't think that it locks him into anything, but it does give them the opportunity to cash in on his upside. But, I believe that it's going to be a battle. And, if something were to materialize between now and the start of training camp and that there was the right opportunity, I don't think that there's any money on the table to him or Taysom Hill that would stop them from, doing something else that they felt could improve that situation. So, I would bet it's one of these two guys, but I don't think it's chiseled in stone quite yet.
Now, Nick, you teased me a little bit yesterday. There was just maybe an inkling, just a tiny little inkling that the Mitch Trubisky dream could be coming true. Does this signing mean the Trubisky dream is officially dead?
I don't think anything's officially dead. I don't know if I'd say the Mitch Trubisky dream was ever quite alive. But, I mean, look, there are rumors out there. You talk to people, they hear things, you catch some gossip, and, it comes from informed places. It's not always totally accurate, but I mean, the word is that the Saints have been, doing a little bit of homework on some of these guys that could shake free via the draft. And, I think they have to. It's not, when you have Brees, you just look straight ahead and you're looking at the tight ends, the linebacker. When you don't, you got to look at every quarterback and every opportunity. And, Sean likes to say that they're in the quarterback business now, and they're going to stay in the quarterback business until they have the next Drew Brees. And maybe that's Jameis Winston, or maybe Taysom Hill morphs into something, with the second chance or something. But, until then, I think that they're going to be looking at every possible angle. And there is a possibility that, one of these quarterbacks in another city, their team drafts somebody, and, all of a sudden Sam Darnold, Jimmy Garoppolo, Teddy Bridgewater, Matt Ryan, Trubisky, one of those guys, maybe they become free, and you got to be ready to evaluate that situation, have the evaluation done rather, and be ready to pounce if suddenly that gets dangled out there and one of these guys are being chopped. So I think that's kind of where they're at. I don't think Jameis totally changes that. I think he just provides them with, an option they're very happy with. But again, the money doesn't prevent them from looking somewhere else.
No, it doesn't, Nick, because he's on a backup quarterback salary still if he doesn't hit those incentives. I mean, Chase Daniels and guys, we've seen them get this amount of money. Teddy Bridgewater made $6 million when he was the Saints backup. So this is truly backup money. And so, where do they go from here? Because we know that Sean also likes to, if they do have Taysom Hill in his gadget role, to have another quarterback on the roster in case Taysom did get hurt or whatever the situation might be. So could you see them potentially draft a younger guy in the later rounds of the draft? Do you think it will be a veteran? Because we all assume they'll add another quarterback.
Yeah, I think they need to draft somebody like every single year now, honestly, and just keep scratching up those lottery tickets later on. The thing is, though, is like you just mentioned, they like Taysom in that gadget role, and if Jameis is the starter, Taysom gets hurt in the game and then Jameis gets hurt, like, do you want a more veteran guy in that role just as a greater safety net? So I don't know. Can they afford it? Like Jacoby Brissett would be somebody that I would look at potentially, but the money, and given their situation might make that a little bit difficult. So it might have to be, a younger guy, and they might not have that luxury of having, that very veteran, very stacked quarterback room that they've had the last few years. But that's probably true for, every spot on this roster. I don't think the cap squeeze really hurt them at the top end. It just kind of squeezed out that middle class a little bit, and that's probably going to be something that happens at quarterback. So, it probably will end up being, somebody, a rookie or somebody very cheap that they can just kind of squeeze in at the bottom of the salary cap.
I'm talking to Nick Underhill. NewOrleans.football is the site you want to sign up for. NewOrleans.football today. It is worth every single penny. Go straight to support the creator, and he creates some excellent work. Nick, this is a question that everybody who has a voice or a pen or anything in this medium has been trying to answer if you cover the Saints. And so I'll just pose it to you. And that is, look, Drew Brees retires, right? It is truly the end of an era. What is Brees' legacy to the city, to New Orleans? Like, how do you wrap up? Where do you even start with a career that is so dense, full of accomplishments?
I think he's the guy that allowed the Saints to have expectations, and he allowed them to forget how hard it is to win, and then he stuck around long enough for them to remember how hard it is to win. And I think that's the greatest gift he gave them, though, is that it's just that level of expectation. I don't think that ever really it existed here. When some random guy made a Pro Bowl, it was cause for celebration, and now that's the expectation, and every player on this team is expected to play at that level. So football-wise, I think he just made them extremely relevant in a way that nobody else ever has, and for 15 years. This has been, there's people like alive right now that don't remember when the Saints were just, basically a random team in the league that, other teams came to beat, and they were just here for that purpose. To the city, obviously he played a key role coming here right after Katrina. I think that, it was kind of the perfect marriage, both the city and the quarterback, both a little, beat up a little bit, needing to rehabilitate, restore, get back to glory. And I think that together, those two things happened. And, I'm not going to say Brees was a perfect person. Like there's, things that, happen that I'm sure he would rather do differently. But, overall, I think that he always, attempted to give this city the best of him. And, more times than not, he did that. And, he's an absolute icon for this area.
All right, Nick, I do want to ask you kind of a salary cap question and where it sits now after the troll job that was a Taysom Hill extension. So we need to break all of that down and see where the Saints are now and where their cap number's at.
So before any of the signings, like they had it under $10 million. It was right on the cusp. Then you had Jameis and James Hurst. So it's probably right around $10 million that they still need to clear, give or take $1 million or $2 million. The rookie class will probably cost about $3 million. So they're in pretty good shape. Overall, I thought that the trimming kind of went as expected. I thought maybe there was one more cut than I expected. I thought either Emmanuel Sanders or Janoris Jenkins would have to go. They ended up cutting both. I think the miscalculation was that we all kind of assumed that they were going to be able to do these extensions on Lattimore and Ramczyk. But, I think it's smart the way they went through it. They're going to trim all the way down, or they've gotten extremely close to trimming all the way down without doing either one of those, and Marcus Williams as well. And, I think if they had used those extensions as a means to get under the cap, you're sacrificing a significant amount of leverage. So once that burden's cleared, they're going to be sitting there, and Ramczyk and Lattimore and Williams can't hold that over the Saints and say, well, you need this money. They don't actually need the money now. They've cleared it all. I do think that, like I said before, the middle class got squeezed out a little bit. There probably will be some opportunities to re-sign or find another Malcolm Brown level player or a Josh Hill level player. And I think those guys are probably going to have to sign $1 million deals this year, whereas in previous years, it was $3 to $5 million per year, just because of the squeeze around the league. So I think they'll be able to address some of that. The Janoris Jenkins one is the one that I kind of disagree with. I don't like the hole at cornerback, but I also, I feel like it might have been a deliberate decision. They could have restructured his contract. It will only cost $1.5 million more to keep him than they saved in cutting him. And, they made the decision to cut him. And he is a player in his 30s. You lock into that contract a little bit longer, and maybe it looks bad in a year. So maybe they're a year early on that move. And, I think letting him go, you got to have a plan. And, I think wide receiver 2 is something that they need to address. If Adam Troutman at tight end is believed to be, a monster as a pass-catching tight end, I think that need at receiver dissipates a little. But without that proven player in any of the skill position spots behind Mike Thomas that can kind of carry that burden as wide receiver 2 or, tight end 1, I think they do need to add one more weapon. But, they got a good amount of draft picks, got some comp picks. They can, address this stuff. But I think a good draft is paramount, and they got to really find a few bargains in free agency to address the depth.
Nick Underhill, New Orleans Football. Go sign up today. Every Tuesday we talk to Nick at 9:30. Nick, thank you so much. It's very busy around NFL free agency. And just some food for thought, Mitch Trubisky is superior to Jacoby Brissett in every single statistical category. Nick, you have an excellent day.
Yep, you guys as well.
All right, take it easy, man. Nick Underhill, New Orleans Football. Yeah. Just saying, I saw your eyebrows poke up from Brissett. Trubisky's better across the board. Can't find a single stat, not even win-loss, anything. Closing out hour 3. Next, here next.